Hey, I'm back and we're just leaving the light. Welcome back to another video. We'll see how I edit that one. Maybe I can, hopefully I can, right where I cut it there, I can have that be separate videos. I was smart while I was at that stopped at that light to stop and start it again though, because I think it might have been up to 45 minutes or something. Well, when I go to put that into the editing program, it takes a long time to render that before I can even start working with it because it's such a long video. So if I keep it into shorter clips, then it's easier to render it and edit it. Stuff I'm learning. Never knew none of this stuff before. Man, that little house that I dream about. Used to be somebody's cabin in the 50s or something. It's just a little 400 square foot house, so it's actually an old cabin in the 50s. And it's got a nice little garage on the land. It was 3 acres, but now it's like 1.8 acres or something. So they must have split off the land or something. And it's a bummer because I like the whole set of the property, so I know they probably sold off the other side because it had a regular level driveway coming in where you had the pond and the lake on each side, and that driveway was nice, but then there was a really steep other way out on the land that in the winter you ain't using that road. Maybe with 4-wheel drive if you once there's snow and ice and stuff, you ain't doing it. That's what I mean, it's just that steep. But that's the side they got rid of, so. Now if I could get the whole land, eventually what I would want to do with that steep hill is I would want to make it either asphalt or concrete. And it'd be expensive to do, but I would run snake PVC before I laid it all, just so I could have the option of having it heated. And because it's a steep hill, I wouldn't be able to do it with, liquid in a pump like antifreeze in a pump. I would probably do it in sections of like heating cord, electrical cord, like you do for your roofs to prevent ice dams. I'd do it that way, I think. And as long as you kept it in the winter, you could just turn that line on, and you should be able to keep it warm enough to where it would gain snow and stuff, but it would melt clean sooner, especially on sunny days. It'd be interesting to try and see how it turns out. Here we go again. Oh, I'm feeling so much more relaxed now that I'm getting closer to back in town. I've got 8.5 miles to go. So I hope it's 8.5 safe miles. I won't sliding or slipping. Yeah, I might have to skip church tonight because I know we got that cold weather coming. I hate to miss it though because I feel so good when I go to church. I don't know, I ain't saying no to it yet. I'll get in town, get my gas, and then I should have enough time to stop at Walmart, and I'll have to make a list of things I want to get for the hotel room. I did pretty good last time. I made a cheap list. I spent like $24 or something like that. And, because it was a hotel room, I wanted to have fun too, kind of make it feel like a little bit of a vacation. And I got so much work done editing. But I got some chips and stuff, unhealthy stuff. Because otherwise, for the most part, I try to stay eating fairly healthy. splurge every once in a while. I never get fast food because I can't afford it. But even when I was working at the foundry, I didn't buy fast food then either. Once in a blue moon, when I come into town here on the weekend from down south, once in a blue moon, like one time I got Wendy's because I just kind of as a memory meal. Because me and my mom, we used to go to Wendy's. She liked going to fast food a lot, and we'd go to Wendy's together, and we'd get a junior bacon cheeseburger, a French fry, and a Frosty, and we'd use the French fries to scoop the Frosty. Oh, was that delicious! The saltiness of the fries with the chocolate Frosty. If you haven't tried it, it's pretty yummy. That's if you have a Wendy's near you. It's a delicious combination. It's addictive. But so I did that one weekend last year. That when I came up for the weekend in town from down south, and for some reason the Wendy's sign made me think of that. And I was like, I haven't had that in a long time, and so I felt like maybe if I got that, I could pretend like I was sharing it with Mom. It was fun. It was a nice experience. And to talk to my mom too while I was doing it, whether or not she could hear me or not, you know. At least I was thinking of her, keeping her memory alive. She's an awesome person. You know, not to toot my own horn too much, toot toot. But you know, I don't want to sound conceited, but I really do like who I am. You know, I know I'm a good man. Ooh, slipperiness up ahead here. And how could my mom not be awesome when she raised me to be the man I've become? You know, it was mainly my mom that raised me all my life. You know, from 4 years old until about 12 years old, my mom raised me on her own. Then she met a wonderful man named Ron, who became my stepfather. And my biological dad, I love him too. Another great man. You know, but you know, not everybody's perfect. Everybody's got their flaws and stuff. But stepfather, he really put up a lot with me in the beginning. You know, because I was a young teenager. You know, my mom's getting remarried, and I went through when you go to discipline me or something for me being, you know, not being a good kid, you know, ditching school or whatever, supposed to be grounded or something and sneaking out or something. And, you know, my stepdad, a wonderful man. I'd have done anything for that man. I'd have died for him. In the beginning, I was a little butthead teenager. I was yelling like, "You ain't my dad, you can't tell me what to do." He wrote it out, man. I'm so glad he did, because I learned a lot from that man too. I'm a big part of multiple people. My wonderful mother, my stepfather, my biological father, my stepmom, my karate master, a man named Lloyd Kirk, who really helped me a lot in life too. And there's a group called Man in Transition. When me and my ex had split up, I was very depressed and suicidal and stuff. Never went to a group before. I quit drinking and drugs, everything on my own. You know, because my mom raised me to have strong willpower and mind over matter, you know. And you make a decision, you can make it happen, you know. And but at that point in time, I knew I was teetering on destruction because my heart was so broken. And big old plow truck coming right at me. And I knew I needed help, because if I didn't go seek help, like a group or something, I knew I might do myself in, because I was just that hurt inside, and I hurt so much. That's what I told Lloyd Kirk, because before the group started, it was a new group, and he'd coach me on the phone to keep me going, you know. Told me I could call him anytime I want, and we'd talk at least once a week, once, 2-3 times a week, just so he could keep me going until the group started, you know, until I could meet him in person. And he did. He kept me going, you know. And in the beginning, he asked me why I wanted to kill myself. He said, you know, you want people to feel guilty, or you want, you know, all these other things. He went through all these different reasons. And I just kept saying, no, I don't want to feel guilty. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want this. And after he asked me all these questions, he didn't know what to say. He said, well, then why do you want to kill yourself? You know, I said, well, Lloyd, I cried like a baby too. I said, it hurts so bad inside. I said, I hurt so bad inside with my emotions that I know that if I don't exist no more, I won't hurt no more. You know, and he was just quiet. He didn't know how to answer, because what was he supposed to say? And that's how I looked at it, you know, just because I was in so much emotional pain. It's weird because I'm a tough dude, man. You know, man. Like I said, I got a master's degree in martial arts because I had an awesome master. Sorry about crying there again. Woo! But you know, when my ex, I was an ass, and she wasn't Miss Wonderful either. We both made a mistake, so it was equal. You know, but I didn't make the situation any better. You know, and we were both young and learning. You know, now I see it all different. And there even came a time later on down the road, my ex looked at me and she was like, it was like the day we both fell in love originally, the way she looked at me. And she said, why didn't you do this all before? You know? At that moment, I probably could have just wrapped up my arms and we could have just maybe moved right forward. But the thing is I had went on a journey to learn why it didn't work between us. And I figured that out. And not to negate her as a person or anything like that, but she didn't go on that journey. So instead of us both changing, going through that group together, I worded it wrong. I meant to. I had good intentions, but I told her that I couldn't date her no more because, you know, how our past went, you know, and her going from hot to cold too quick because of maybe something I did or whatever, you know, I don't know. But I told her that, and she said, why? When I told her I couldn't date her no more. And too bad, because I don't know if it would have worked out or not. She's a wonderful woman. I love that woman till the day I die. My daughter's mom. And it just didn't work out. It's too bad. Got a lot of wonderful memories with her. Anyway, where's that word sneaking in on me? I told her, well, I worded it wrong, okay, is because I went to this group to learn, and when I told her I couldn't date her no more, and she said, why? What I said was wrong. I said, because you'd have to go to group. And she got mad. Because basically what I wasn't realizing at that time, because I was still learning, you know, is it made it sound like she was the problem, you know, and that was not my intention. I didn't mean it like that. What I meant is, you know, I would have went to group with her, you know, just to learn together on where we made our mistakes and how to appreciate each other and stuff, but it came out wrong, you know. I didn't mean it to be coming like she was the problem, because that was not the case, you know. What I should have said is I should have said, you know, I've learned things differently now and I see things differently, and if you were willing to go to, you know, couples counseling or marriage counseling, group counseling together, then I'm open to giving this a shot. But I made the mistake of saying, because you'd have to go to group, and that just turned things real quick. So there was no talking after that at that moment, you know. You know, so, and I did let her know at one point, you know, when she asked me why I didn't do this all before, I did tell her that, you know, I said, well, Chris, I said, you know, well, we're both young and learning, you know. And I said, well, I shouldn't say her name, sorry. Natural instinct for it to flow out of me. You know, I ain't giving no last name. Anyway, and I did tell her that, you know, I apologize for anything I've ever done that create negative or hurt feelings in you, you know, and I mean that with all my heart. Even today, I mean it. And I told her, I said, you know, but I'm okay now and I know where I'm going. You know, I can see my future is going to be very positive. I've learned to get rid of negativity for the most part. I mean, it's still human. You know, some things in life are still going to affect you. But I got a really good outlook on things, you know, since back then. And anyway, that word snuck in there again. And I told her that if there's anything I did in our past together that she still holds on to that bothers her, that she would like to have closure or anything on, I said, you let me know, talk to me, you know. And anything I can do, if there's something you want to get closure on or get over, you know, I said, I'm here, you know. And I told her then, I said, you know, I want you to have a happy and good life, because if you're happy, the children will be happy, you know, and stuff. And that's important to me, you know. Because I got done with all that jealousy stuff and that. And, you know, and since we're not together, I want her to be happy, you know. I want her to be with a man that's a really good man. I think she's got a good man now. She's married now. And I think he probably is a really good man. And I'm happy for her, you know. There's part of me that wishes that we would have worked out, because back then, that's why I got so suicidal and so depressed out of it all, because I had it in my mind, we were having a kid together and stuff, we had a kid together, and I prayed for my daughter before I ever met my ex. I prayed to God that I used to think I was going to die at a young age, and I prayed to God that I could have a little girl before I died, that I could have and get to know and stuff or whatever, you know, or whatever. But and God gave me that. God, that's another one of my answered prayers. One of my very best answered prayers ever. My daughter is the best answered prayer I've ever had. I wish I was involved in her life more with my grandchildren and her husband and stuff, but just kind of how things went. I love her. She knows I love her. I sure hope she does. And we communicate through Facebook and stuff. And there was a point in time when I first got back in touch with my daughter and we started communicating and stuff, that then I didn't hear from her for a little while, and I got all paranoid. I was like, you know, I kept started thinking, did I do something I wasn't paying attention to and mess up? Maybe I offended her, but maybe I said something or did something that might have offended her, you know. So I'm all paranoid and worried about making any little mistake, you know, because I just want my daughter to know how awesome my dad is. And not that I'm the best thing in the whole wide world, but pretty dang close. Anyway, so, that word. And then my daughter, like I said, I was all stressed out over nothing. And then my daughter wrote me an email during that period of time. Said, hey, Dad, you know, sorry I haven't written to you in a while, you know, just been so busy with the family and stuff and blah, 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 blah. I was like, whew, you know, and I was making up all these worries in my mind. And there wasn't nothing wrong, you know. She was just busy living life. And that's one of the things I learned from Lloyd Kirk in that group, you know, is we stress out on things and create all these what ifs in our mind that stress us out. He used to call it mind effing yourself, you know. I'm not going to say the word because it'll strike me on the channel here. But really cool dude. I'll have to talk about that group in one of my videos. I'll have to make a video about it. My videos are so scattered with my thought process. Woohoo! Am I going to spin these tires? A little bit. Ooh. Spinning tires. Oh my. I'm going to pull over here. So there's a car where I need to pull up. For a second here. I can stop my navigation. And where are we at here? Hey, thanks for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next one.